Hi, this is Tom Blodgett from Jende Industries, and today we're going to go over some things about a fillet knife. All right, so on the fillet knife, one of the things about fillets, and this is a Wusthof version, is the flex. You can see there's quite a bit of flexibility to these knives, and that's the point. First thing you're going to do to give anybody with a fillet knife, they're going to press it down and bend, and that's what they do. They get into the fish, and then they work along that, usually at some kind of angle. So the first thing they're going to do is flex that blade. One of the problems that we're going to run into, though, is this bolster. As always, bolsters are fun, and obviously this part here is a bit thick, but the thing is that it extends beyond that. Most people don't realize it presents a problem when sharpening. So what I've done is I've marked on this blade. You can see, there we go, catch that, about where the thickness actually beyond the grind line. The thickness is beyond the grind and comes onto the blade, and only about at this red mark do we actually start the edge, which is well after the perceived beginning of the edge here. And then sometimes it goes a little bit further before it actually forms a true sharp edge. And I've marked a few of these, and you can see that basically it's in the same place. When we're sharpening these knives, inevitably this is what happens. You ride up, you're into that because this area is still too thick beyond the actual bolster. Same on the other side here. You ride up into it. So the question is, what do you do? Because you don't need to be all the way, and you can still see there's some thickness here that hasn't been taken out. And then aesthetically it looks terrible, and guys will say, hey, you didn't sharpen, you should have thinned the whole blade. There's really no good way on the belt to do that, in my mind, so we're going to offer some solutions to this. The first solution is to only sharpen up to that point. So by marking the line here, I'm just going to sharpen to that point. I've marked it on both sides, and I'm only going to sharpen up to this red line. So let's see what that does. And we're just going to go through, and on this one, we're not going to do just one belt. We're going to pass through a couple. I find it's just faster to get it there. I'll do a quick touch on a stone to get rid of any burr, and then we'll buff it. These are very delicate when you're sharpening. You can't really press down very hard, and if you're at any leverage, it bends, and you're going to miss a lot of stuff. So the trick is to just keep it as flat and smooth and let the belt do the work. So it's taking a few passes, and again, I'm going slow and steady, stopping right before that line. So we'll come back at a 45 later and get that. Fillets being super flexible, you just got to let the belt catch where it catches. The belt's a little tired here, but ultimately we got our edge, and we stopped right at the red line. So I'm going to come across at a 45 now. You can see at that 45, I went over and I hit the bolster intentionally on both sides. So you can see this side did okay. You can see that 45 mark. And here it started to come up. So again, just because the initial factory is a little heavier on one side or the other, you can see how it's a little smoother on this side. It's got a step on this side. So yeah, these are just, again, aesthetic problems that happen as you're sharpening. So now I'm going to switch belts because it's easier than going to stones on this particular case. So I've got a 30 micron trizact, A30, I'm sorry, A30, which is approximately 30 micron. Trizact. So we're just going to come in and basically start polishing this edge. Bringing it up to more of a matte finish. Still some good scratches in there. We're going to bring it up to a A16, which is equivalent to the 1K grit. So that's about like using a stone. We're actually getting a nice finish on that. There is a burr here though. So what we're going to do is bring it over to the stones, and we're going to remove that burr initially on a 1K, and then more like a strop though. We're not going to actually sharpen. We're just going to strop it a few times and then take it over to the buffer. For the stone part, we're going to use what we used on the boning knife in the previous videos, where it's slightly rounded. And this is just like a steel basically. So you could use the flat part on this. Just going to find our angle and take off the burr, more or less. You can use the rounded part. Just watch your fingers. Because in the end, in the kitchen, they're going to use a steel anyway. So this just lets us know that this angle that we set with the belt will be a stealable angle. So next we buff. Same buff up, zoop zoop. We go in at an angle, and then I kind of convex it slightly, and then we'll get rid of my compound and flip it over to the other side. Important to watch the flex on this, because it will flex in the buffer. So you want to make sure that you're supporting it with your finger in the back. Just be careful so that it's not bending in the buffer. All right, the cut test. Get your S's. Not a problem. Hi guys, I just want to thank you for watching our videos, and hopefully you will like and subscribe as every channel asks you to, so we can get more of these videos going and hopefully keep you entertained and with all of your fingers and toes. Again, thanks for watching.